Hey everybody, this is one of my one-off, slightly random streams, so I don't really have any intro slides or intro music or anything in particular. I'm just gonna get stuck right in, although my head's a bit cut off. Let's do a little, oh it'll be fine. You're not gonna see my head for most of this anyway. So, what am I gonna look at? This is kind of somewhere between a hands-on and a creative writing session video. A couple of weeks back, I looked at Grazie. I'm going to pronounce it correctly in this video, not Grazie as I kept trying to call it for some strange reason. Grazie from JetBrains, which is JetBrains makes IDEs, generally tools aimed at developers, and Grazie is a writing assistant. And I looked at using it for technical writing. And related to that, a couple of months ago, I looked at GitHub Copilot, which is generally an AI assistant for programming. And then a couple of, I can't actually remember when exactly, I looked at using that for creative writing. So this time round, I'm going to use JetBrains Grazie for creative writing and see how we go. It's going to be interesting, I am sure. So let's jump into a screen share. Okay, and open up IntelliJ. This is going to look incredibly overcomplicated for writing, but it's the nature of the beast. Yes, it's going to be a new project. Oh, I'm just going to enable the, probably won't need it too much, but highlighting my cursor. We don't need, it's not a programming project. So let's call it, I need a word. I'm thinking, I suddenly realized I scheduled this for April Fool's Day. So, that was possibly inappropriate time to do, but let's go with that. So I'm going to call it April Fools, and I'm going to save it somewhere else. I don't know why it always defaults to wanting to put it there, but I'm going to save it here to set that up. I think I must have reset IntelliJ here because, for one, this is not very readable. Let's just make this a little nicer to look at. I want to make the fonts a little bigger. Should have done this before. Oh no, that actually seems okay, but let's give it something nice and big. Okay. Let's create a file. I will use Markdown for now. Markdown. Okay. And we need to enable the plugin, which is in here. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, no, it is still enabled here. There's an update, so let's update that. And next, I have to remind myself how to trigger the assistants. I don't know, something like that. Let's see. Yes, that's it here. Because there was a couple of keyboard shortcuts that I eternally had to remember that I didn't entirely remember. So it was the documentation. It was the, oh, which one was it? It was a text completion, inline tab, pop-up mode. I think we enabled pop-up mode. Let's just get to the settings, which were buried somewhere. Yes. Text completion and a pop-up, yeah. Although I just noticed it wants me to restart the IDE. So let's let's do that first. Okay. I never get writing. Let's shrink that out of the way for now. Okay, and let's get rid of this sidebar. I'm not entirely sure what that's called to close it. The project. I want it to go away. Sidebar. You can tell I don't use. Enter Zen mode. I think that's what we want. Whoa, that's ridiculously large. How does that actually look? I think we should probably make the font a little bigger. No, I think unfortunately, all right, let's do it now. How do I get out of it? Oh, there we go. That was a little bit unreadable. I think that huge white screen is not so fun to look at. So let's just nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. Let's just make that font just a little bit bigger. About 26. I also kind of want to get rid of this preview. Don't really need it. I honestly don't know how to get rid of it. All right, fine. Okay, so it was. But I'm not getting completion. Okay, this is a good start. It worked last time. This still going is bothering me. I actually think the problem is because I think I know what the problem is. This is why using IDEs is sometimes not ideal for these situations. I think it is because I put it loose in this folder here, and it's trying to index my entire workspace folder, which has a lot in it. So yeah, that's probably not... We'll pop it in there instead. Okay. Third time lucky. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm not convincing anybody that this is a good idea right now, but that's fine. I don't think I ever actually was thinking it would be. Sometimes it's just about the fun. All right. Was analyzing now. Okay, there we go. This is what we want. It was the first of the two. Sure. The first of the... First of the 2 years of April. Doesn't make sense. I never said it was going to. Okay. I think we can get rid of... there we go. Brilliant. It was the first of the 2 years of April. Actually, it makes a vague sort of sense. So in this story, I don't know, someone who likes April a lot has decided the next 2 years are all going to be April. Yes. We need a name. I'm looking at some graffiti outside the window. Sazzo. Sazzo sat back in their head. I'm not sure about that one. Sat back in their chair and said he. Seems reasonable. Said he was. It's very negative, wasn't? No, it was. And said he was happy. Oops. Be helpful if you spelt it correctly. Said he was happy with what was going to happen. There we go. It's a good start. It makes an extremely vague sort of sense. I'm actually going to just with what was going to happen. I don't exactly know why. Oh, it's just various checks. Okay. What's going to happen? So, what was going to happen? The plan had been to have every day for the next... Now, this is interesting. GitHub Copilot, I think, was better at reading the rest of the document and analyzing from that, whereas it doesn't look like this is, because we've already said 2 years earlier, but the alternatives we're being offered are 6 months, 3 months, and a few months, which are not wrong, but don't really relate. So, well, let's go for few months. It's not 24 months would have been better, but it'll do. The plan had been to have every day for the next few months be, and again, if it was a bit smarter, it would have said April, but instead it's going to be on the table. The plan had been to have every day for the next few months be on the table. I don't really know what's going on, but we'll carry on. To be on the table. What is the table? Is it like, I think like tabling a motion or something like that. It's the only thing that makes sense. So, be on the table. Let's continue the sentence for a while. Yeah. I don't think Grazie is really analyzing what we're writing. I don't know if there's anything to change that, but I think that would probably involve the cloud service, which isn't working yet. Because otherwise, well, it could still read the local document. Limited functionality, yeah. I get the feeling that this is not really going to give us particularly interesting results, but we'll carry on. Be on the table for a while. Oh no, a long time. I like that. For a long time. So it doesn't get the full stops in the right place. On the table for a long time. I just want to put word wrap on. This is going to be... I think you actually have to... Oh, there we go. Okay. Zazo isn't really a word, so I don't think that's going to be able to guess anything. Zazo's advisor said. Advisors. Okay, all right, fine. Said. Well, we need some quotes. Hey, Zazo, did you know that this is the best way, okay, to get... Dare I see what comes next? Nothing. Oh, disappointing. It's the best way to get unpopular with the people. Zazo reflected on his... Okay, we've switched genders, but okay. Zazo reflects. That's not even grammatically correct. Let's leave that. Let's see if it'll pick that up in a minute. Zazo reflects... Actually, it's not incorrect. It's just not correct, if that makes sense. Zazo reflects on his legacy with a... I'm just going to do a little bit of human writing for a minute. Get this story moving a little bit. Zazo reflects on his legacy with a pensive air, wondering what happened to his wife. Okay, I like that. Was she the reason why... No, was she the reason he decided to have 2 years of... Yeah, it's not really picking up on what I've written already, is it? The reason he decided to have 2 years of April. I'm just going to finish it myself for now. I'm going to cheat. 2 years of April? Was she? I don't know. Was she? What do you think? Anyone watching along? Was she the reason? He thought about their past life together as a pair of young actresses. Yeah, okay. Who traveled to the country and performed at the doesn't always give me I want the next suggestion. Come on, keep going. Performed at the same time. Not very interesting, but it makes vague sense. He thought about their past life together as a pair of young actresses who travelled to the country and performed at the same time. Okay. Their best performances were always in April. And they were... I've actually managed to mistype several things there. Let's correct those. There we go. We're always in April, and they were perceived as having a Aston, as having a natural chemistry. All right. This story is not really making a whole lot of sense, but let's carry on. This is always in April, and they were perceived as having a natural chemistry. Their favorite role was the you let me down. Okay, I'm gonna look out the window for inspiration. Was the watershed of, okay, why not? Watershed of the world. Their favorite role was the watershed of the world. It doesn't make sense, but I kind of like the sound of it. This role demanded that he make splush noises for 6. Yeah, that's a little ridiculous thing. 6 hours. And his wife had to, I dare wonder what, okay, that's not, could have been worse. And his wife had to go to the, I've kind of lost my train of thought. This is getting too weird. And his wife had to go to the coast. No, let's undo that. Let's make this make a bit more sense. And his wife had to, not a shed of the world. He makes splush noises for 6 hours, and his wife had to create fake news stories. Why not? Had to create fake news stories for forever. Okay. He thought again. Why did this mean he liked April so much? It's a very good point. It doesn't seem any positivity to April right now in this narrative. Why did this mean he liked April so much? His advisors were nervously... These aren't even words. Nervously, they're not words. We're nervouslying. I like it as a word, but again, it's not the word. We're nervously surprised when he jumped on the table. Okay, this is utterly surreal. No, I'm going to change this. When he awoke from his day... Oh, let's put daydream. Day doctor? What on earth is a day doctor? Give me 1 second. Why did this mean he liked April so much? His advisors were nervously surprised when he awoke from his daydream. He turned to them and said, I have changed my mind. I no longer like April so much, and instead the kingdom, actually we never said it was a king, but why not? The kingdom will celebrate the we'll celebrate the I don't know. I was hoping we'd just get a word here. Celebrate. Let's see. Celebrate the end of a grim end of a And instead the kingdom will celebrate the end of a... I've honestly got no words here. I'm staring at a weird octopus, but that doesn't really make sense. I need a word. I need a random word. Celebrate the end of a river. Okay. His advisors looked at him. That makes sense. Dumbfounded. What was he talking about? One of the bolder ones stepped up towards the... Now, this is interesting. This makes more sense. Stepped up towards the throne and asked in a way that he... Okay. And it doesn't finish, though. I'm not really sure what to finish that with. In a way that he regretted. Sir, what do you... Yes. What do you... It's not giving me any clues, so I'm just going to have to go with mean. He looked at them, surprised by their... I really want it to by their words as he... I'm just going to explained. All right, now Grazie, give me a nice surreal string here because I've got no idea what he's going to say. Well, he said, I mean I don't want to be able to get distracted. Yes. I mean, I don't want to be able to get distracted. I would rather have to I'm going mad here. I would rather have to... I don't know what to say. I would rather have to make sure that the people think I am going to make them feel better. I mean, it makes sense in isolation. Okay, the advisors looked at each other, even more confused as before. This was going to be hard. They would need the help of the men and women off the floor of the Yeah, I think I'm just going to give up here. This isn't really quite going anywhere, so let's just recap our story. I think we can deduce that Grazie locally is not optimized for creative writing. Neither was GitHub Copilot, to be fair. This was all a bit of fun. But I think GitHub Copilot was better at understanding what we'd already written, whereas Grazie maybe isn't. That might change with the cloud service being added. But it was just an experiment. But let's just recap our crazy, crazy story. It was the first of the 2 years of April. I really liked that as an opening, actually. And then it kind of just rambled off. Zazo sat back in their chair and said they were happy with what was going to happen. The plan had been to have every day for the next few months be on the table for a long time. Zazo's advisors said, "Hey, Zazo, did you know that this is the best way to get unpopular with the people?" Zazo reflects on his legacy with a pensive air, wondering what happened to his wife. Was she the reason he decided to have 2 years of April? He thought about their past life together as a pair of young actresses who travelled the country and performed at the same time. That was vaguely sensible. Their best performances were always in April, and they were perceived as having a natural chemistry. I mean, that makes sense. Their favourite role was the watershed of the world. This role demanded that he make splash noises for 6 hours, and his wife had to create fake news stories forever. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it sounds kind of cool. He thought again, why did this mean he liked April so much? His advisors were nervously surprised when he awoke from his daydream. He turned to them and said, "I have changed my mind. I no longer like April so much, and instead the kingdom will celebrate the end of a river." His advisors looked at him dumbfounded. What was he talking about? One of the bolder ones stepped up towards the throne and asked in a way that he regretted, "Sir, what do you mean?" He looked at them, surprised by their words, as he explained. "Well," he said, I mean, I don't want to be able to get distracted. I would rather have to make sure that the people think I'm going to make them feel better." It's an admirable desire, but it doesn't really make sense. The advisors looked at each other, even more confused as before. This was going to be hard. They would need the help of the men and women of the same kind of ideas as the king. Yeah. Well, that was an experiment. I don't think I will be using IntelliJ for my creative writing quite yet, but I think for less creative writing, it definitely is probably fine. I may have another go when the cloud connected functionality is there and see if it's any better at something it's not designed for. Just for fun, I have to make this very clear, just in case anyone from JetBrains is watching. I do not expect IntelliJ to work with creative writing, just having a bit of a play. Anyway, if you enjoyed, okay, I need to get that slide back. If you enjoyed this very, very random ramble, you can always find more of my videos wherever you happen to be watching this and at christianchiller.com. And I'll be back next week with my normal schedule and maybe another creative writing with an artificial intelligence another time in the future. But for now, I've been Christian Chiller. I hope you enjoyed that nonsense, and I'll see you next time.